What's going on, everyone? So, the man in yellow, he is full of mystery. And I imagine that the upcoming season 4, whenever we get that, could be 2 years from now. Hopefully, it's not that long. Hopefully, it's like early 2026. But nonetheless, what we should expect is more in-depth information. Maybe not all of it, because they are expected to do at least 2 more seasons. That's the goal. That's the plan. So I could see them maybe not revealing all of the mystery and all of the secrets of the man in yellow, but we got to get some kind of idea, right? Where is he? What does he come from? All kinds of different theories and ideas. Is he, a demon? Like, what is it? Is he a different type of monster? Is he the big boss? Is he the big bad? Or is there somebody above him, right? Is he the monster that lives in the dungeon that Martin keeps referencing and mentioning and whatnot? Why is he old? Right? Like, if you were going to have like this big bad monster, why not have this like huge giant of a man or, like this beast looking type monster or whatever? Why is it just kind of an older guy? Right? Is it to kind of add the parallel? You got the boy in white who's young, the innocence, the purity that represents the white, the boy in white, right? You got this, the king in yellow, right? You got all these mythologies in regards to that and all these different story arcs and Lovecraft and all that kind of tie into that idea, right? So is it kind of the parallel of just like, old and evil and, wicked and then you got the young and youth and, like I said, innocence. Gonna be interesting. See how that kind of plays out, the two sort of parallels. But one of the big things that kind of want to know is, why is he not depicted as old in the painting? So we got a glimpse of the man in yellow before we got to actually see the man in yellow. And that was in one of Miranda's drawings. Now, it's a painting, right? Like, it could, but he doesn't look old in this picture, right? And the painting and the artist in illustration, right? Miranda's vision of drawing him. And also it's a very different type of, like, he's in like a suit, right? You see the collar strip, but not sure. So is this the same man in yellow? Is this a different man in yellow? Is this just kind of how she saw him and envisioned him? Was he completely different at one point in time? Is this pre the man in yellow becoming evil? Right? Is that something? Like, was the man in yellow originally, just like how all the monsters were originally human, right? All the monsters were but that was back in like the settlement days, right? Like, is the thing, right? You had multiple reincarnated versions of that, and time has passed over and over and over again, right? Like, so the man in yellow isn't wearing, some old, whatever, like 1700s attire, right? He's wearing, like, you could wear this today. And nobody would bat an eyelash. People would be like, oh, okay. Right? So, like, there's just some inconsistencies in regards to the artistry, the man in yellow, and the actual man in yellow himself, right? You see the kind of aura around him, this like red aura signifies, my guess is like evil, bloodlust, right? You kind of got the blood splatter all over the place, right? You kind of got the markings on the face, which originally people thought it was Randall, but we saw he doesn't have like the scar like Randall or anything like that. He does have this kind of like, hue to him, that kind of like, but my big thing is like, why is he young? Right? Nothing changes. Nothing evolves. It is now, right? You're seeing like the boy in white's getting older. The weather's change. There's now been this change. But prior to this beginning process of change, really when Tabitha and Julie and everyone came back, there was no change, right? It was always the same. It was always constant. I mean, look at the monsters we see that attack Fromville. They always look the same. They don't age. They don't nothing, right? Like, they're not different, right? Even Randall talked about like the patterns that they take and how they consistently do that, right? Like, they're always in the same plot. Obviously, if something breaks the sort of patterns, then they'll adjust to it. But there's ordinance. There's order. There's consistency to Fromville. And I could see, because just like how the boy in white is aging and changing, the man in yellow maybe could be doing the same thing. But to go from, in this painting, I mean, you could argue, let's say he's in his 40s or 50s, to what he looked like when we saw him, 60s, 70s, somewhere around there. Like, it's a big change, because you don't have the wrinkles, you don't have all the things that we saw with the man in yellow, right? Like, Martin looks closer to the man in yellow from what we saw in the dungeon, which I've theorized, like, what if that's a thing too? Like, what if Martin is kind of both? Like, he's just a mirage. He's just this, he's not really real. Like, he's just a figment of this place. Like, you see, like, Boyd with Father Kotry and, Jade with Tom and all that, right? You're constantly seeing that. Is he just kind of this interaction, right? Talks to Julius up. But anyway, I like I said, I've made videos about it, so go check out those videos if you're interested and curious on kind of my perspective on that stuff. But, like, Martin looks closer, like, if you shave the beard and all that stuff, right? Looks closer to the man in yellow than what we saw in the picture in the painting, right? People, again, continue to speculate and theorize, like, oh, what if it's Randall? Well, like I said, I don't think it can be Randall. Now, originally, when we saw the painting, and you saw the kind of red line, yeah, it kind of, okay, maybe it is Randall. But now that we actually know what he looks like, it, just based on the aesthetic, the look, it doesn't appear to be Randall. It can't be Randall. And if that's the big bad, he's been there for ever, since the beginning, right? Just like the monsters have. So again, it could be Randall, even with time travel implications, stuff like that. It could, I mean, could you make it make sense? Sure, but the timeline, as far as we know it, doesn't add up and doesn't make sense, right? So that's something that they would have to kind of fix or figure out, right? So, but Randall also does look closer to the artistry version, right? He does. Like, again, you look at the painting, I'll have like a side by side up on the screen, but you look at kind of Randall and the artistry from Miranda, they do look very similar. There is kind of that thought, right? Like, there is that, like, oh, okay, you kind of see the like I said, the little scar painted, and then, Randall is he's been so betrayed. You can kind of see, like, maybe he makes a deal with the monster. Like, you could talk yourself into Randall turning into the man in yellow and being willing to kill everybody and Jim and all of them, because, he's already kind of like, a guy you got to keep an eye on. He's already a guy that you're kind of like, hey, like, I wouldn't want to be in a dark alley with him, right? Like, I wouldn't want to, be in a room too long stuck with him, right? Like, and so I do think that in and of itself is very interesting. But I don't think timeline-wise and from what we saw from the actual man in yellow that it adds up and makes sense. It's interesting, right? It's just kind of a thought. Now, again, it could be a million reasons. It's a painting, right? That could just be how she explained it, how she, at the time went about it. But, again, if this is a monster in Fromville, it wouldn't have changed that drastically unless it is now, right? Like, the boy in white has aged, but he hasn't gone from, what appeared to be, like a 6-7-year-old to like, a 20-year-old, right? He's gone from like what looks like a 6-7-year-old to maybe like a 10-11-year-old, right? Somewhere in that ballpark, maybe 12, right? Like, he doesn't look like a teen yet, is the point. So did the man in yellow really drastically age from, like I said, late 30s, 40s, based on the artistry, maybe you could argue early 50s, to like 70, 80, just like old looking, and it's different attire. Is it even the same, like I mentioned, the same man in yellow? Is it somebody completely different? Is it something completely different, right? There's so many ways that they could approach this, but again, just kind of something that just in my head that I wanted to kind of talk through and get out and have a conversation on. So as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that, like, yeah, like this makes sense? Like, clearly he's older in the now when we saw him than he was when we actually got the painting. We saw the painting originally. Do you think, like, no, could it just be an oversight or something? Could it just be like, hey, the painting, it's a painting, not the same thing, right? There's a lot of ways that you can talk about it, explain it, and dive into it. But again, just thought that was kind of in my head that I wanted to kind of talk through and figure out and, hear your thoughts and opinions. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.